Welcome to Public Account, where real-life nightmares come alive. Prepare to be haunted by chilling tales of the unknown, drawn from actual events. Lights off, volume up, and remember, these horrors are closer than you think. Subscribe, if you dare.
First-person encounter, BlackEyed Children, Texas, July 17th, 1999. I had always enjoyed late-night drives. The serenity of an empty road, streetlights passing by in rhythmic procession. It had an almost meditative quality. But after that night, every shadow in my rearview mirror seemed to hide a sinister secret. I was driving through a small Texas town, seeking a quaint diner I'd heard about. As I looked for parking, my car's headlights briefly illuminated two kids standing by a lamppost. They looked around 10 and 12, a girl and a boy, respectively. Their attire was oddly formal. The boy in a suit, the girl in a dress that looked straight out of the 60s. I parked and began checking my phone for the diner's address when there was a light tap on my passenger window. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my skin. The two kids were standing outside my car, their faces inches from the glass. Their eyes, they were completely black, no whites, no iris, just an endless abyss. Suppressing my initial shock, I rolled the window down a couple of inches. "Can I help you?" I stammered. "We need a ride home," the boy said, his voice cold and emotionless. The girl added, "We won't harm you, we just need to get home." There was a heavy silence. My heart pounded in my ears. Every instinct screamed at me to drive away. But then a nagging thought took hold. What if they were just kids in need? My rational mind grappled with the situation. Maybe they were wearing contacts, trying to scare unsuspecting passers-by for fun. "Why aren't you home? It's pretty late," I probed. "Our parents will be worried," the girl replied, ignoring my question. Something about her tone felt rehearsed, as if she was repeating a line from a script. I hesitated. "Look, there's a police station a few blocks from here. I can take you there and they can help you get home." The boy's face twisted into a frown. "No, we need to go to our house. Just let us in." There was a forcefulness in his demand, an urgency that felt oddly threatening. Panic gripped me. I began to roll up the window, but the girl spoke again, her voice desperate. "Please, we're just kids. Don't you want to help us?" Her plea would have sounded genuine if it weren't for those haunting eyes. My fingers trembled on the window switch, but as the window inched upwards, their voices became more insistent, more distorted. "Let us in. We need to come inside. Please, let us in." Their chant grew louder, drowning out my thoughts. But then something miraculous happened. The glow of headlights appeared in my rearview mirror. Another car was pulling into the lot. I seized the moment. With tires screeching, I sped out of the parking space and onto the road. In my panicked state, I didn't stop until I reached the next town, some 30 miles away. I finally pulled over at a gas station, my breathing ragged, my shirt soaked in sweat. The attendant, an old man with a grizzled beard, noticed my distress. "Everything all right, son?" he asked, genuine concern in his eyes. I hesitated, then spilled out my story. He listened intently, his face growing paler as I described the children's black eyes. After a long pause, he finally spoke. "You're lucky you got away. There have been tales of them black-eyed kids round these parts. Whoever lets them in, they ain't never seen again." I felt a shiver run down my spine. The realization of the danger I had narrowly avoided hit me all at once. After thanking the attendant and promising to be careful, I continued my journey. But I never took those late-night drives again. To this day, I don't know who or what those children were. Were they ghosts, demons, or something far more sinister? I've spent countless hours researching, trying to find answers, but one thing's for certain. If you ever encounter children with pitch-black eyes asking to be let in, for God's sake, drive away, and don't look back. The Communion Encounter, December 26, 1985. The snow outside Whitley Strieber's upstate New York cabin painted a serene picture. Christmas had just passed, leaving behind a lingering sense of warmth and coziness. The fireplace in the living room crackled, casting a gentle glow over the room. That evening, as Strieber sat writing in his study, he felt an unusual chill. His dog at his feet began to growl softly, eyes fixed on the window. Peering out, Strieber saw nothing but the vast expanse of snow. Dismissing the dog's reaction as a response to some wildlife, he turned back to his work. But then the lights flickered. The familiar hum of the generator grew erratic, then abruptly silenced. In the sudden darkness, a blinding light streamed in through the window. Strieber shielded his eyes, trying to adjust. That's when he saw them. Figures, shadowed and diverse, stood outside. There were the slender grey beings, their large almond-shaped eyes devoid of emotion. Alongside them stood more human-like entities, but with an otherworldly aura. Their eyes were a deep shade of gold, and they wore robes that shimmered as if woven from stardust. Before he could react, Strieber found himself outside, standing amidst them. His surroundings had changed. No longer was he in the snow-covered landscape, but instead in a vast chamber with walls that pulsated and glowed. A grey alien approached him, its fingers long and slender. It touched Strieber's forehead. Images flashed before his eyes, memories of his past, snippets of his present, and unfamiliar scenes from a possible future. It was as if this being was reading him, extracting information, experiences, emotions. One of the human-like entities stepped forward, its golden eyes locking onto Strieber's. In his mind he heard a voice, melodic yet authoritative. "We are hybrids, Whitley," the being communicated. "You've always felt different, haven't you? Drawn to the skies, searching for answers, for connection. That's because a part of you belongs to us." Strieber felt a rush of emotions, memories of strange dreams, nocturnal visits, and a lifelong fascination with the cosmos flooded back. Was he one of them? A hybrid? The golden-eyed being continued. "Generations ago, we began a project, intertwining our DNA with that of select humans, aiming for a harmonious existence. You, Whitley, are a result of that project." Flabbergasted, Strieber tried to process the revelation. Was his entire life a lie? The stories, the dreams, the odd occurrences, did they all lead to this moment? "We've watched you, guided you. Your writings, your curiosity, they've been a beacon to us," another voice echoed, this time from a grey being. "But why?" Strieber managed to ask. "Why me? Why now?" The golden-eyed being responded. "The world is at a precipice. Mankind's actions are driving it to ruin. We've revealed ourselves to you because your voice carries weight. Through your writings you can inspire change, bridge the gap between our worlds. Together we can steer humanity towards a brighter, unified future." Suddenly the surroundings began to dissolve. Strieber felt a sensation of floating, and then he was back in his cabin. The lights restored, the warmth of the fireplace embracing him once more. The only evidence of his otherworldly experience was the snow melted in a perfect circle outside his window. Shaken, Strieber immediately began documenting the encounter. The result was Communion, a best-selling account of his abduction, the revelation of his hybrid lineage, and the urgent message of interstellar unity. The world reacted with a mix of disbelief, awe, and curiosity. As debates raged, Strieber found himself at the epicenter, championing the cause of unity, environmental consciousness, and the possibility of a hybrid connection. While some dismissed Communion as fiction, many others felt a resonance, an inexplicable connection with the narrative. Around the world, people reported similar encounters, dreams, and memories. Was it possible that hybrids were more common than believed? Were they among us, guiding us, pushing us towards a brighter future? As the years passed, the lines between fact and fiction blurred. But one thing was clear. Strieber's Communion encounter had left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness, pushing humanity to question its place in the vast cosmos and the potential for a future that was not just human, but hybrid.
The BlackEyed Children. Encounter in Abilene, Texas, 2012. It was a bitterly cold winter's night when I first encountered the BlackEyed Children. I was parked at a desolate gas station, my car's engine idling as I waited for the signal to turn green. That's when I saw them, 2 children, a boy and a girl, standing in the flickering light of the station's sign. They seemed innocent enough at first, their faces pale and their clothes strangely outdated. But as they approached my car, an unsettling feeling crawled up my spine. They knocked on my window, their voices barely audible through the glass. "Can we get in, please?" the boy asked, his black eyes devoid of any humanity. I hesitated, something deep within me warning against it, but I couldn't resist their persistent pleas. I unlocked the car and they climbed inside. As we sat there in the cold silence, I couldn't help but notice their eyes, those pure black orbs that seemed to suck the light from the night itself. I tried to make small talk, but my words fell on deaf ears. Suddenly, the power in the gas station flickered, plunging us into darkness. Panic set in as I fumbled for my phone's flashlight. When the light pierced the black, I finally saw their malevolent nature. Their mouths curled into sinister grins, revealing rows of sharp, pointed teeth. "Our parents are here," they hissed in unison from the back seat. My heart raced as I turned to look out the rear window. Two tall, slender figures stood at the end of the driveway, their eyes also black as night. I waved, but they remained motionless, their intent clear. The children and their eerie companions departed together, leaving the car and the gas station in darkness. When the power finally returned, I was left shaken and scarred. In the weeks that followed, my life unraveled. My pets vanished one by one and my husband's health deteriorated rapidly. He was diagnosed with aggressive skin cancer, a disease that seemed to appear out of nowhere. The black-eyed children had left their mark, a curse that followed us from that fateful night. I couldn't escape the feeling that they were more than just malevolent children. They were something otherworldly, something sinister, and I had let them in.
The Manhattan transfer abduction, November 30th, 1989. Linda Napolitano always considered herself a rational person. She had lived a fairly mundane life in her 12-floor apartment in the heart of Manhattan. Each day was filled with routine: work, cook, read, sleep, and repeat. But on a cold evening on November 30th, 1989, her life's trajectory changed in ways she couldn't fathom. Earlier that night, Linda felt a curious heaviness in the air, as if the atmosphere itself was filled with static. Every time she tried to sleep, her skin tingled with a peculiar sensation. Unbeknownst to her, two security officers, Agent Martinez and Agent Steele, were transporting a VIP through the same area. They had the streets locked down, ensuring a safe passage for their charge. Linda tried to shake off the feeling by reading a book, but with each word she read, the heaviness in the atmosphere seemed to increase, drowning her in a surreal fog. A soft, melodic hum then began to vibrate through her apartment. It was both comforting and alarming. Linda's head snapped to her window, her gaze drawn to an orb-like craft hovering outside, glowing softly in the night sky. Her terror was palpable when three figures appeared in her room. At first glance they looked like humans, but their elongated fingers and grey-tinged skin hinted at something else. The most striking feature was their eyes, a captivating mixture of human emotion and the vast, cold depths of the cosmos. Without speaking, one of the beings touched Linda's forehead. Her panic dissipated instantly. They weren't here to harm her, she somehow knew. One of them, seemingly the leader, gestured toward the window. In a mesmerizing display, Linda felt herself floating, her form transparent and ethereal. The city lights twinkled below as she ascended towards the hovering craft. Agent Martinez, watching from the ground, couldn't believe his eyes. "Steele," he whispered hoarsely, "are you seeing this?" The form of a woman was floating upward, flanked by beings not of this earth. They too were staring in shock. Their VIP, a high-ranking government official, whispered in horror, "It's really true." Aboard the craft, Linda found herself in a room filled with ambient light. The hybrid beings communicated not with words, but with emotions and images, a direct mental link that transcended language. They showed her their home, a dying world, where their evolution had taken a wrong turn. Their fusion with humanity was their last hope, a desperate attempt to save both their kind and, indirectly, the humans too. It wasn't an invasion, it was a collaboration, one that Linda found herself inexplicably linked to. As they shared their knowledge and memories, Linda experienced a lifetime of another world in mere moments. And then, just as suddenly as it began, she was back in her room, the beings gone and the mysterious craft disappearing into the night sky. Agents Martinez and Steele rushed to Linda's apartment building, compelled to understand what they had witnessed. They found her, shaken but unharmed. Their VIP insisted on speaking to her privately. With an intensity in his eyes, he confessed, "Years ago I too was taken. They showed me the same visions." Linda's abduction wasn't an isolated incident. It was a chapter in a grander narrative, a collaboration between two worlds. The hybrids, these human alien emissaries, were among the people, working discreetly, hoping to integrate and save both races. News of the Manhattan transfer abduction spread. For some, it was just another outlandish tale. But for Linda, the agents, and a few select others, it was a profound revelation that changed their understanding of life and their place in the cosmos. The hybrids were here, and they came not as conquerors, but as brethren seeking union and survival. The Travis-Walton case, November 5, 1975. The snow-covered forests of Arizona were rarely silent. Between the rustling of pines and the creaking of old wood, it was a place teeming with life. Yet, on the 5th of November 1975, as the sun slipped beneath the horizon, a chilling hush fell over the woods. Travis Walton and his crew had been logging all day. Exhausted and dreaming of a hot meal, they loaded their truck, the headlights breaking the encroaching darkness, but as they navigated through the dense woods, a mysterious glow pierced the tree line, growing brighter and more intense. The crew pulled to a stop, jaws agape. Suspended in the air was a silver, shimmering disc. Every instinct told Travis to drive away, but an inexplicable urge pulled him from the truck. He advanced toward the hovering object, captivated by its mesmerizing dance of light. Suddenly, a beam of energy struck him. His crew members screamed, scrambling to restart the truck and flee. They sped away, leaving the now lifeless body of Travis behind. 5 days passed. The crew, initially hesitant, eventually reported the incident. As expected, they were met with disbelief and suspicion. They were accused of foul play, even murder. But then a call came through. It was Travis. Dazed, dehydrated, and wearing the same clothes he'd disappeared in, Travis recounted a tale that defied comprehension. He spoke of waking up on a sleek, cold table, the air thick and sterile. Above him loomed figures, greys he called them, with large, bulbous heads, deep-set, almond-shaped eyes and slender bodies. But they weren't the only ones present. Alongside the greys were humanoids, startlingly human in appearance, but there was something off. Their skin appeared translucent, eyes slightly larger, and their movements eerily synchronized. These beings, Travis believed, were hybrids, a union of human and alien DNA. They seemed to command the greys, directing them with silent gestures. Travis was moved from chamber to chamber, sometimes examined, sometimes simply observed. The hybrids always watched with an intense curiosity. On the third day, or what he perceived as the third day given the timeless quality of the ship, one hybrid, distinguishable by a slight scar on its cheek, approached Travis. Its touch was cold, but its gaze conveyed something almost familiar, empathy. In fragmented English it communicated, "You fear, understand, we learn, you return." And return he did. Travis found himself back in the woods, the ship disappearing into the night sky. In the days that followed, Travis grappled with his experience. Dreams and reality blended, and his mind teetered on the brink of sanity. Desperate for answers, he revisited the abduction site. There, imprinted in the snow, was a single set of footprints, humanoid, but with slight webbing between the toes. Weeks turned into months, and Travis began to receive mysterious letters. Penned in elegant, almost antiquated handwriting, they were signed only by the initial H. The letters spoke of knowledge, unity, and purpose. They hinted at the hybrid's goals, to bridge two worlds, to understand and be understood. But for what end? The letters became Travis's secret obsession. Each one contained a puzzle, a clue leading him deeper into the hybrid enigma. They spoke of star alignments, ancient civilizations, and DNA manipulation, and always there was the promise of another encounter. Then, one cold winter night, as Travis lay in bed, he heard it, the familiar hum of the ship. Drawn once again, he ventured outside, where the glowing disk awaited. The beam of light engulfed him, and he was aboard once more. The scar-faced hybrid greeted him. "You seek, now understand." In a series of rapid images, Travis was shown the Earth's history, its potential, its failures, its tipping point. He saw the hybrids' creation, their purpose as mediators and protectors. He felt their pain at being torn between two worlds, belonging to neither. "You bridge," the hybrid whispered. "You teach." With that, Travis was returned, his mind ablaze with newfound purpose. He began to write, speak, and share his experiences, not as a victim, but as an ambassador. The story of Travis Walton is not just one of abduction, but of connection. A reminder that in the vast cosmos there might be forces, whether grey, humanoid, or hybrid, that seek not to harm, but to understand, to bridge gaps, forge alliances, and protect a world teetering on the brink. In the depths of the Arizona woods, where the tale began, a single set of hybrid footprints reminds us of the mysteries that bind us, the universe around us, and the potential that lies ahead.